What if you take actually important relationships in your own life right now and act as if those relationships are elevated to an entirely new level?
Some people say fake it until you make it. We don't like that. We say fake it until you become it.
There's a great quote from a famous psychologist named Clark Hull. He was actually one of Milton H. Erickson's professors, a hypnosis professor.
Yes, he was.
And what happened? What is the quote?
It's a really useful quote for hypnotists because in 1933, Clark Hull published a book called Hypnosis and Suggestibility. It's still a good read, a bit dry though. And the famous quote is, anything that assumes trance causes trance.
Anything that assumes trance causes trance. So as hypnotists, we use this all the time when we're teaching about, for example, rapid inductions using catalepsy.
Right. Now, catalepsy is when you have a limb floating in the air or just not working. It can be cataleptic eyelids that don't open. Muscles get this weird tonicity effect where they float in the air or just stop working. Now, having said that, this has been used in hypnosis for over a century. Now, you can create this by putting the person in trance, you're getting sleepy, you're getting tired, your hand is rising, it's becoming cataleptic. That's a lot of work. Or we can assume the trance by setting up catalepsy and getting the trance by default.
And we're not going to demonstrate that here, but we'll link to some videos in the description to show you what we're talking about with respect to, we call it going backwards into hypnosis.
Right.
So you're setting up the catalepsy in advance.
And you get the trance.
The trance.
Yes, it's we create the phenomena and get the trance by default instead of creating the trance and then trying to produce the phenomena. We just do it backwards.
This is very similar to a concept called the as-if frame in NLP. So the as-if frame says you can put in as many components as possible, or if you put in as many components as possible to simulate the end result, by changing your own behavior, you're much more likely to actually get that end result automatically.
Right. Now, we've all experienced, you say to a friend, hey, do you want to go out for dinner? And they go, as if. No, this isn't that. When we say the as if frame, we mean behaving as though it is already happening, whatever behavior or belief we have. And by creating that, all the pieces sort of fall into place and it works really well.
All right, so let's look at an example. We've all seen movies where perhaps two main characters in a Hollywood movie, they fall in love with each other on screen.
The characters, yeah.
Well, they're just acting, right?
Right.
They are just acting, but they're acting as if they're in love.
Yeah.
And oftentimes what happens is these characters end up having real feelings for each other. When they wind up finishing the movie, they're actually in love and they end up having a relationship.
Right. I read a couple of years ago about Julia Roberts. Apparently she was notorious for this. She'd fall in love with her male leads in films because they're acting like they're in love. Actors take it on very, very well. And then she'd start to feel like she was in love with this guy, like Lyle Lovett many years ago.
Will it last?
Well, I don't know. Probably not. But it's a good example of how acting as if something is true makes it become true.
That's right. When you stop acting as if it's true, things can change, obviously. Yeah. But where we end up is there is a cause and there is an effect. And they're really a loop because whichever one you do first becomes the cause. Right. And the other end of the loop is the effect, right?
So A can be the cause of B, or if you do B first, B is actually now the cause for A.
And that is the as-if frame, or if taking it back to the Clark Hull quote in hypnosis, anything that assumes trance causes trance. So what are we doing to assume the trance? Actually putting the person in hypnosis through some rigorous, long formal induction?
No.
Or setting up catalepsy.
Right. Creating a cataleptic limb.
It's a shortcut.
Gives us the trance. It's a shortcut. Understanding these loops and the as-if frame can transform your life. If you want something to happen, act as if it's happening and notice what happens.
It's all very zen and wonderful,
yes, it is, Chris.
And the as-if frame is just a wonderful thing that you can use in your life.
Yeah, but you want to be careful how you use it. If you want to act like you're in penitentiary, you could always act as though you're a master criminal and then get caught and wind up in the penitentiary. There's places you probably shouldn't apply this.
Right, so use this to help yourself in life. So our question for you, what will you use the as-if frame on that wonderful Clark Hull quote, anything that assumes trance? Let's replace the word trance with anything that assumes X, whatever X is, causes something else. What are you going to apply this to? Public speaking,
Public speaking
perhaps?
is a great example, Chris. When I was a therapist, I worked with people who spoke in public, and I would help them get good at it. And I'd tell them, take on the physiology. How would you stand if you were a brilliant speaker? How would you address the audience? How would you present yourself? And they start to become brilliant speakers by acting as if they already are.
Or like the Hollywood film story that we told you, what if you take actually important relationships in your own life right now and act as if those relationships are elevated to an entirely new level.
Some people say fake it until you make it. We don't like that. We say fake it until you become it. And you shouldn't apply this to brain surgery or flying a massive airliner full of unsuspecting travelers. Otherwise, you will wind up in that penitentiary.
Yes. That's right. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. Go ahead and click the subscribe button and then ring the bell, because that way you'll always be notified of our new videos. If you check the description under this video, you'll see a link to the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy for those of you interested in learning hypnosis formally, or the topic of this video is really about making your life better. We have an awesome membership called the Personal Growth Membership.
Yes.
We recommend you check it out. It's full of all kinds of awesome stuff to make your life amazing.
Even better.
Even better, amazing. That's right. Thanks again, and good night.